Okay, so for this one, we're given this equation, and then we're asked to find vertices, foci, and the equations of the asymptotes. So let's start by getting this thing graphed. We know it is leading in y, so that means it's going to be the kind that is parallel to the y-axis. And then our equation, we know that because the y is leading, and then here's the equation of the asymptote that we're going to come back to in a second. So, getting this graphed, we're going to have, there's my pen, that 25 down there means that A equals 5, and that 4 down there means B equals 2. So if I pop over here, there's my center at 0, 0 because there's no H or K term showing. Oops, do that every time. And then for my vertice, we know A is 5 and the y is leading, so that means we're going to go up 5 and down 5. So with that, now I know the vertex, the vertice are at, when x is 0, y is 5, or when x is 0, y is negative 5. To find the foci, I don't actually have to graph the rest of this, but I'm going to just because I think it's going to help with explaining the asymptote. So the other thing we know here is that b is 2. So if I go ahead and graph those points, then that would mean right here and right here would be the other side of that box. And then the way that if we're going to draw this on paper, that would be one side. It's not going to let me do this with this. Right here, right here, right there. And then the asymptotes are going to run right through the corners of those boxes. So once I have the a and the b, I can come back over here and find c. So a squared plus b squared for hyperbola equals c squared, and so that's going to be 5 squared and 4 squared, and that would be 29 equals c squared, or square root 29 would equal c. So if it's really hard to draw with this, but the where these would be, I don't think it's going to let me, right about there and right about there. Square root 29 is about 5.4, so we're just going 5.4 up and 5.4 down. If I pop back over here to the notes, I can kind of point out what I just tried to do here. So A was up and down, that was our 5. B was left and right, so that was the 2 to either side. And that we knew B, that let us find C, which is right there and right there. And that's the center from the center to the focus. So once we have all that, we can then write the equation of our asymptote. So let me just kind of do it blindly from this right here first, and then I'll show you how that makes sense with our graph. So our equation is y minus k equals plus or minus a over b and x minus h. Except in our case, the k and the h are zeros, so then that simplifies to y equals plus or minus a over bx. So looking right here, a is 5 and b is 2. I'm just going to chunk those right in there. And then that's going to be the equation of our asymptotes. So the positive one would be plus 5 halves x, and the negative one would be minus 5 halves x in terms of how to enter it in the computer. Oh, the other thing I forgot to do here was write out the focus as ordered pair. Let me come back to that graph for a second. So the focus, this would have been x is 0, and then y is root 29. And then the other one was x is 0, y is negative root 29. And so here, now I can show you on this graph how that makes sense. If we thought about graphing this line, we'll just do the positive one for the example here. Y equals 5 halves x. The y-intercept on that is 0, 0, so it's going right here. It doesn't have a b term. And it's going to go over 2 and up 5 to that next point. And that's what defines that asymptote. Like I said, I don't think this will let me draw it. Let me see if I just drew a line. Do it that way. There we go. So you can see it's going through 0, 0, and then through 2, 5. And that's our A and our B. So that's why that formula is the way it is, where this is our rise and this is our run, because it's rise over run right there from the line. So you don't have to totally get all that, but this formula works because of what I was just saying over here. If we were to finish drawing this out, the hyperbola would be there and there. I think that was all the features on this that we're supposed to find. Yep. So that is how you do that.